I would say maybe look at three things on your own. It's around your self-care that prioritize caring for yourself. Make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure you have a healthy diet. Make sure that you are moving your body regularly and engaging in activities that you actually enjoy, outside of your work. And so we can reduce that stress, have more relaxations. And I would say a lot of times self-care can be in any forms.
So, hello and welcome to the Healthy Business Lab podcast, where we talk to allied health and related business owners to share insights, learnings, and education for us all to basically learn more at the end of the day. And today I'm super excited to have Claire Wu on the call. We've had a chat before this and super excited to get further insights and share it with our community here. So, Claire, welcome to the podcast. And how about introducing yourself a little bit more than what I've just done there?
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I'm so excited to be on the Profit First. So I'm Claire Wu. I am a resilience speaker, a therapist, and a coach. Being a physiotherapist working in the mental health for around 15 years. I work with a lot of people with anxiety, depression, and mainly to help them overcome those and build mental resilience by resetting the nervous system. We've got physical product. We have coaching programs and also speaking keynotes as well. So yeah, that's what I do in our show.
I love it. And a bit of a plug for your business to get that out there for people to be able to follow.
Yeah, sure. Just my business, I run Breathe Into Peace. Our vision is to empower 100 million people globally to overcome anxiety, to build mental resilience by resetting the nervous system.
Yeah. I love that. And again, massive impact, massive results, and something that what you're doing in the space of, if I put it in the context of business owners in general and even business owners in the health space, one thing that often gets put by the wayside at times is we forget to look after ourselves in many ways. And many people in the space often put their clientele first, and which is just that big-hearted and the nurturing nature of the profession. But looking after ourselves is such a big impact that we can't help people as much or as many or have that massive impact like you're talking about unless we actually look after ourselves first. I'd love for you to sort of come from that perspective in what you do and some ideas that people can think of about looking after themselves with the breath and managing anxiety and resetting that nervous system.
Yes, I've seen a lot of time. I collaborate with a lot of doctors, specialists, like from psychiatrists to GPs, general practitioners, to occupational therapists, to psychologists and physiotherapists, and all the other allied health practitioners. And what I've seen a lot is that because they have worked in the past in more of a traditional medical settings, a lot of people run on adrenaline and cortisol. So most of them don't take breaks. Most of them are constantly on the go. A lot of them have burnout and feeling really exhausted, fatigue, and it can be quite challenging when that happens. It's like when you cannot take care of yourself, it's hard to take care of other people. Burnout is really common, and it's something that I do work with some of my clients. And it's almost like because our nervous system includes our brain, our spine, and our peripheral nerves that connects to our hands, our lungs, and our gut. So our body, naturally, we have this mechanism where we relax while we rest after a stressful event. The vagus nerve comes in, and that nerve is, again, the longest nerve that connects the brain to your heart. So that nerve kicks in, and then it relaxes your heart, it slows down your breathing, slow down the heart rate, calm the nervous system. But a lot of time, if we're constantly in the stressful environments, that function gets lost. And then that's why we feel this chronic stress and chronic anxiety, because we never allow our body to fully recover. And that's how burnout happens. We can see that being increasing over time. 70% of healthcare workers that's experiencing burnout, and it's increasing throughout. It's something that is quite common. It could be a mix of like long working hours, high stress levels. Also, there's lack of support in the mental wellness at the workplace. So yeah, it's fairly common.
Yeah, it's a very big number, isn't it? When you say 70% of people are experiencing it in that state and that phase. So I guess even from a very short aspect of bringing awareness to that for people, is any ideas and tips of something that they can do to start to get that, finding that connection again, to finding that function of reducing the stress and the pressures and bringing that to light? Any quick tips for our business owners out there?
If you're running your own allied health clinics or practices, I think first is to kind of identify like where you're at with your mental wellness. There's some characteristic with burnout, like exhaustion, feeling like you don't have any energy left, feeling like you're really exhausted mentally, physically. If you're tired all the time, you feel really drained. Or you feel really detached, like do you feel like you're detached from your work, from your clients, from the job at hand, like you don't have any engagement with satisfaction from the work. You feel like there's a lack of accomplishment, like you're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of work, but then there's no outcome that you desire. It's like could be a feeling like if ineffectiveness or lack of accomplishment. And you might even have physical symptoms like headaches, gastrointestinal symptoms, muscle tension, and insomnia. You couldn't sleep at night even though you're very tired. And yeah, just to really to monitor those and also check if you have any depressive symptoms, anxiety, and irritability that might be associated with it. And that's when you reach to a point where you really need to like slow down and rest.
And so that's probably the follow-on question from that was definitely going to be that notion of, awesome, ticked a couple of those boxes, or in some cases many of those boxes. What are the quick wins that people can get as far as trying to then take a step? And I know that it's often baby steps, but what are a couple of those baby steps to then start to turn that around?
Yes, again, if you run your own clinic, I think it's a lot easier than if you're working for someone else. If you're running a clinic, I think it's really to look at a couple things. I would say maybe look at three things on your own. It's around your self-care, that you prioritize caring for yourself. Make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure you have a healthy diet. Make sure that you are moving your body regularly and engaging in activities that you actually enjoy, outside of your work. So we can reduce that stress, more relaxations. And I would say a lot of times self-care can be in any forms. It can be meditation, it can be breath work, it can be going in nature, going to hikes. But yeah, something you can do really simply is just 5-10 minutes during a day. It's really focusing on your breathing, because in a way, when we slow down our breathing, we extend the exhalations, it significantly reduce our stress and anxiety. So it
That's a
activates the
brilliant
vagus
one.
nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it activates the vagus nerve and calm the heart rate.
I'd love to just delve into that a touch more, knowing from my own experience of I've done a bunch of meditation and different things in the past as well, but more recently having found breath work and being more conscious of my breathing. And even before I jumped onto this podcast, it was being super conscious of my breath. And even as you were talking, it was just triggering myself to go breathing in through my nose and being quite conscious of where I've come to a point of being conscious of. I've probably got to a phase where I've done more mouth breathing than the nasal breathing. I know it's been an interesting insight as I go to bed and concentrating on nasal breathing rather than mouth breathing. I've noticed marked difference in my feeling and comfort and that exhalation part as well. I'd love for you to delve a little bit further on that.
Yes, there are hundreds of breathing techniques. I think breathing is the central of what we do as a human. We often breathe every single day. We take thousands, tens of thousands of breaths. And a lot of time, if we're not breathing properly, it can lead to many problems with our muscle tension, with our high blood pressure, and all of that. So there are, again, hundreds of them. So some breathing can energize you, some breathing can relaxes you, some breathing helps you connect more deeply with your higher self, some breathing can help release the past. And I think just to put it very simply terms, it's like when you breathe in, it tends to increase the heart rate, and when you breathe out, it slow down the heart rate. I usually recommend if you're already really stressed and anxious, you want to focus on the exhalation, on like slow breathing out. And we usually recommend you do it through the mouth, like you're blowing a candle, because when you do that, you kind of the air resistance is pushing in back, and that forces your lung sacs to open. So then there's more oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. If you can practice with me, that'll be great. We can do this together. I'll probably take around a minute.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can rate kind of like your stress level at the moment on a scale of 0 to 10. 1 is minimum, 10 is excruciating. So just rate a number in your mind. And from here, I just want you to just sit upright. Place both feet underneath your knees and just sitting upright, lengthening the spine. And from here, I want you just to breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing a candle for 8 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And breathing naturally through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And inhale again through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. As slow, long as possible. Very good. Just keep breathing out and breathing in through your nose. Now we're going to exhale out through your mouth for 16 seconds. 2, 3, 4, and just keep the breath slow and long, like you're breathing out a string. Keep breathing out and inhale again through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. Slow, long, and consistent. Just let everything go. Let all your worries and your stress float away. And just keep breathing out. One more here. Breathe in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth, like you're blowing out the candle. And just keep breathing out. Keep letting everything sink down, let everything go, let go of the attachment, let go of the outcome. Good. And now just take your time, resume your breathing, just come back to your usual breathing and just feel the floor underneath your feet, feel the seat underneath your buttock, feel that you're supported. You're coming back to this present, to this moment, and just checking with yourself again where you're at with your stress level on the scale of 1 to 10. 1 is minimum, 10 is excruciating. You might notice it's dropped. If it hasn't dropped, you can practice this again.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great little practice that people can, hopefully they've gone along with at home. I just did as well. And whenever I do an exercise like that, it definitely calms things. I love the visual that you shared. Well, I see things in pictures. So that notion of breathing in speeds up the heart sometimes it does, and then that slow breath and how you've just gone through a process to be able to have that slow, controlled breath out, which is longer than the in breath. Just it makes sense as well. So while I know sometimes I'm doing that, I just started to think about that, and it's like, yeah, I'm slowing myself down, and then you literally feel the physiology of your body being in that state. So thank you for sharing that. That was a great little exercise. I'd love to sort of change tack a little bit now, in a sense, moving from that notion of business owners looking after themselves to then looking after their business as well. And, at the Healthy Business Lab here, we're very much about having experimenting in business with experiments that work, some that don't, and we always learn from those in your business life and running businesses and being involved in businesses. I'd love to learn just a couple of experiments that you've potentially done and the outcomes of those and the learnings that you've had that other business owners might get some benefit from the insights.
Yes, absolutely. So I run Breathe Into Peace. So we've developed like a couple of products that's IP patented. One of it is the breathing necklace. What we've just done with the breathing, like some people forget about to do it, but that's why we create this breathing necklace so people can use this to slow down their breathing. So when they get stressed, they reach for the necklace, they breathe out through it, they slow down the breathing and slow down the heart rate and calm the body. And it's a token of the reminders. At the beginning, we really focus on a lot of the markets, like the local markets, when it comes to selling this product. And we have some success in some market and some that we don't. I would say like 10-20% of the market were successful and a lot of them are not. We basically spend like the whole day at the market and sometimes selling less than $1,000 in a day. And that kind of hurts in some way because you're going out there and you're hoping at least I need to make around 500 to 1,000 a day or more. Then I realized that this retail part is not working and we start shifting to wholesale. So when we shift to wholesale, that means we start reaching out to clinics, to spas, to gift boxes and Whole Food shops. And this is when we start to gain traction. So we have our first 10,000 orders that came through, and that just really helped us took off the business. That was a big learning curve for me because I never really tapped into wholesale in the past. And I've learned so much along the way, how to prepare your catalog, your order forms, even the website, and reaching out, sending the sample and everything, even going to gift fair, gone to Reed's gift fair, Mind Body Spirit Festival and other trade shows. And so that has really helped us to position ourselves as the go-to brand when it comes to using rating tools. And I mean, we have other tools like journals and cards as well, but that really helped us to open that new market for us where we can actually reach a wider audiences. Instead of selling 10 products at the market, we're now selling thousands, tens of thousands.
Yeah, that's a nice insight. That selling from one to one in a certain style of market to that one to many approach and the shift from that. So I'm probably curious around how long did you spend going to the markets and doing those sorts of things? How long did you sort of do of that before you started to shift that thinking?
Yeah, I am someone who is quite resilient in a way. As I mentioned, the market's on and off, right? It's good and bad. So there are times where you sold a couple hundred in a day. There are times you sold thousands a day. So you kind of like giving it 90 days, and some does well, some didn't do well. So overall, I think I gave it around that 12 months. And between those times, I actually invited some of my friends to join me at the market. And a lot of them, they just did it once and they give up. Like, for example, they did it once, they didn't sell much or they didn't sell anything, and then they just give up. So I think you need to have a strategy, have a plan in place. But again, you gotta experiment, but also set a time or a threshold where you stop and then you move on to the next strategy. So if you
Love
have
that.
like 3 strategy in place, give that a try,
Yeah.
give it 90 days. And because for us, it's still working some parts. So then we continue to experiment for another 90 days. And then up to a point where, okay, now we're getting consistently not hitting $1,000. Then, okay, let's let that go and then try another strategy.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And what I'm hearing is that notion of have a plan, have some numbers around that, have the timeline around that, and then you've got something to notionally mark yourself against to then go, okay, what was the good? What was the things that could have improved? Where to from here? So I love that. Again, this podcast is an example for me, for an experiment in my notion. Okay, we're going to do 100 episodes, see what the impact is, see what the outcome is, and then we can make an assessment of, is it achieving what we want to do? Is it getting the reach? Is it, having the impact and the like? And you've shared an example of that there. So that's a great example. Have you got another one there by any chance?
There's another one I can share with. So other than running my product business, I also do coaching. I do my coaching for, again, helping people overcome anxiety by resetting the nervous system. So I think at the start, I was really focusing on outreach on social media. So we have a lot of marketing posts and we have a lot of engagement, from 10, 20 to hundreds of engagement each post. So we start reaching out to people that have engaged with the post, and the process is really slow. So the goal is to get people to book a 30-minute call, and from there to see whether they might be a good fit for the coaching program that I offer. And it was so slow. It was really slow because it's like you've got like 10 to hundreds of people, and then you got to outreach. It's like you're opening a lot of message. My messenger is full, really. Every day it's like hundreds of messages, and you lose track, and then it becomes really slow. Like I did have like 1 or 2 clients, but after 100 outreach, so I was a bit like, okay, there could be something that's a little bit better. So I started hosting my own masterclass and explain what I do. So it's all about reset nervous system and thrive. And in the masterclass, I literally will get like from 50 sign up to like 200 signups. So there's a lot of sign up.
Wow.
And from there, I explain what I do. I explain the process. I showcase my clients' results and showing them people the steps how to reset and thrive, including like mapping out their nervous system state, their triggers, and then recommendations on how to get back to the flow state. And that was really working really well. I've got at least 3-5 clients just from running masterclasses. And in a way, when I'm speaking in the masterclass, it also positioned me as an expert compared to reaching out to people and then trying to build that connection and start the conversations.
Yeah, awesome. Again, another great example of looking at things in a certain way, having a plan, having a strategy, working to it, and then just keep on tweaking it. And it's kind of like tweaking the experiment to go, well, what's going to land, what's going to have the effort versus reward kind of thing. I love that. That's, again, another nice insight, I think, for people just to have in the back of their mind. And as you were doing that, you're talking about your masterclass and the like, something that we love to do. Again, that's it. It's the education piece. Yeah, we get to educate as well as then for those people. Some people go, oh, I can go do that sort of stuff myself. Or they can say, no, actually, I want to make that happen so much quicker. I'm going to start working with you, for example. But, and you also touched on sharing the client results. I'd love for you to sort of share one of those here. If you've got a case study of whether it's the coaching or whether it's the breathing product, the like, of somebody that's come into your world and they've had certain challenges, and then as a result of what you talk about, resetting the nervous system and the breathing and those sorts of things, that turnaround story, I'd love for you to share an example of that.
So most of our clients, they come through, they usually buy the product, and after they purchase the breathing necklace, or we have our journals and cards. So these are the journals that we collaborate with the First Nation artists. They usually purchase the items, and after that, it helps them improve, and then they want to go a little bit deeper in their healing journey or recovery journey. So one client that I have, her name is Julia. Julia is occupational therapist, and then she reached out to me online. So when we have the chat, Julia just come in, and then she say, Clay, I've got nothing. Literally, I have nothing in my life. I've got no money. I've got no support from my friends and family, and I don't know what to do. I've got nothing. And I sit there, and then I was like, I look at the screen. We're on this Zoom call. We're on the screen, and I can see that she's in this really beautiful house, a very big wooden house, and then with the wall art, with the very high lifted ceilings, and then with the flowers, with the decorations. And I was a bit surprised that she says she's got nothing. We worked together for around 3 months, and we help her to reset her nervous system. And after that, she started to see that she actually have everything. She applied for the funding to start her product business, and she got the support from her friends and family. And then she actually launched her product in New Zealand. Now she's selling her products globally. She's still doing her therapy work, but now she's got the product on the side, which is bringing extra revenues and where she can actually travel the world. I'm just really happy for her. So that's just the power of the nervous system, because a lot of time our limiting belief, a lot of people think that it's in our mind. Like with her, she has got this money trauma and scarcity, and things are not enough, things are never enough. And it's actually stored in parts of the body. That adversity is stored in parts of the body. So if she tried to think her way out of that trauma, that story, actually I had enough, actually I'm abundant, it's very challenging. So what we do, or it takes a lot of time, it takes hours and days, but what we try to do is we map out the where the adversity is stored in the body, and then we focus on the movement that's customized to that, and help to release and relieve all of that out of her body and then out of her mind as well.
Love that. And that's a great, again, way to, I guess, round off the conversation of that visual of being able to get in and unwind all the historic stuff that's held in the body, and coming back to that, putting a picture to what resetting the nervous system can actually look like. And so I love that story that you've shared of how you're able to, in 3 months or so, been able to transform the outlook. And again, the idea of then, by taking some of those stresses and the pressures away, then the world has become the oyster for Julia there to be able to go see other opportunities, and by the sounds of it, go on and do some pretty amazing work. So that's great. Well, 30 minutes on the dot as we come here, and it's around the time that we have for these episodes and these podcasts. And I'm sure there's plenty of things that you've talked about there. I know I'm going to go away off the back of our previous chat and this chat here now and follow you. And so if people do want to follow you further, follow your content and hear what you've got coming up, because you did give me a little teaser before as well as to some cool things that you've got on the radar. Love for you to share where people can find you, connect with you, and what you've got coming up in the next couple of months.
Yeah, sure. Well, time flies. I am on across social media, so you can add me on Facebook, Claire Alvera Wu, or on LinkedIn with Claire Wu, and you'll find our brand Breathe into Peace on Instagram. But yeah, Facebook is the easiest way to find me. I'm very active on Facebook. What's something that's really exciting is that I've finished my book and it's now with the publisher. So this is my book. It's called How to Get Over Your Beep issued. So yeah, it's giving people, helping them reclaim their life with proven strategies, sustainable techniques. This is the book that I'm really excited to launch with my journey and 20 years of healing, and also working with clients over 15 years. It was just the right time to launch.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that information, and we'll include all those details in the show notes. And when the book is released, we'd love to get those details so that we can add those notes to the show notes. And
the pre-order is open. The pre-order is open.
Pre-order open. There we go. Well, make sure we'll grab those links for those as well so that we can add them to the show notes for our audience as well. Once again, I really appreciate you joining the conversation today, and for all the allied health business owners and related health and wellness related businesses out there, then there's definitely a few key takeaways that you can start to implement from today that can probably start to make some progress and incremental steps in your own life specifically, but then also the impact that can then flow on to business and the experiments that you might start to look at. So thanks again, Claire, for your time today.
Yeah.
A nice little...
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to say, I do offer a 30-minute chat where if anyone is a bit unsure of where they're at or feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, I do offer a 30-minute chat just to understand where you're at, where you want to head to, and how I could potentially help you. Feel free to booking a call to chat further.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that and for providing that offer to the audience. And we'll see everybody on and here, losing track of the video and the audio side of this podcast, but looking forward to sharing more stories in the upcoming episodes. See you soon.
Yeah. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Business Lab podcast. Make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest episodes.